What happens when one of the sharpest comedians in the world sits down with a host who refuses to let anyone else have the last word? In just 34 seconds, a casual conversation turned into one of the most explosive moments in talk show history, ending with a guest being thrown off set in front of millions of viewers. Ricky Gervais walked onto PiersMorgan's set expecting a routine interview. Talk comedy, share laughs, promote his latest project. Simple. But what unfolded was a masterclass in verbal sparring that left one man standing and the other humiliated. It started innocently enough. Piers, with his trademark smirk, lobbed soft questions about Ricky's career and comedy specials. Ricky answered with his usual wit, the audience chuckling along. Then Piers shifted gears, leaning into his confrontational style. "You think you're smarter than everyone else, don't you?" he said, voice dripping with condescension. Ricky laughed, a genuine, cutting laugh. "That's rich coming from you, mate. You've built a career telling people what to think." The audience let out a collective ooh, sensing the first jab in a brewing fight. Piers bristled, his jaw tightening. "I'm a journalist," he shot back. "I ask tough questions. I hold people accountable." Ricky didn't miss a beat. "Right. Like at that tabloid you ran, before the phone hacking scandal." The studio fell silent. Ricky had struck a nerve, referencing Piers' controversial past. "We're not talking about that," Piers snapped, trying to steer the conversation back. "We're talking about your comedy." "No, you brought up credibility," Ricky countered, calm but relentless. "Let's talk about journalists hacking phones, invading privacy. Let's talk about that." Piers' face reddened. "That's irrelevant," he barked, voice rising. Ricky stayed cool. "You act like a moral authority, but your past is questionable at best. You judge everyone, yet can't handle being judged." The tension was palpable. Piers gripped his chair, visibly fuming. "You don't know what you're talking about," he said through gritted teeth. Ricky smirked. "I know exactly what I'm talking about. And so does everyone watching." That was the breaking point. Piers stood abruptly, pointing at Ricky. "I won't be disrespected on my own show." Ricky, unfazed, replied softly, "I haven't disrespected you. I've just refused to pretend you're something you're not." Piers lost it. He gestured wildly off camera. "Get him out of here," he shouted. Producers rushed in, hesitant but following orders. Ricky stood slowly, brushing off his jacket, amused. "Guess we know who the real snowflake is," he quipped to the camera. The audience erupted, some laughing, some gasping, a few clapping. Chaos reigned as Ricky strolled off stage, tossing a sarcastic, "Thanks for having me, Piers," over his shoulder. Piers sat back down, red-faced and rattled, trying to salvage the show. "That was unfortunate," he muttered, introducing a trivial gossip segment. But the energy was gone. The audience, the viewers at home, everyone knew who'd crumbled. Piers had let his ego take the wheel, and Ricky had exposed it with surgical precision. Rewind to the start, and the signs were there. Piers' forced warmth as Ricky walked out hinted at unease. Maybe he knew Ricky's reputation for cutting through nonsense. Maybe he felt threatened by a guest sharper than him. Either way, Piers came in itching to dominate, not converse. When he pushed Ricky on crossing lines in comedy, Ricky dismantled the premise. "I don't worry about lines," he said. "I know my intent. If people don't get it, that's their problem." Piers pressed harder, insisting some topics were off limits. Ricky challenged him to name one, and Piers faltered, mumbling about disabilities. Ricky pounced, pointing out the nuance of context and intent, exposing Piers' oversimplified moralizing. The fatal blow came when Piers, desperate to regain control, sneered, "I'm a real journalist. You're just a comedian." The audience froze. Ricky's smile turned cold. "You think you're better than me? Your truth has ruined lives. My bad jokes don't." Piers, shaking with rage, demanded Ricky's removal, proving every point Ricky made about his thin skin and need for control. In 34 seconds, Ricky turned Piers' show into a spectacle of his own unraveling. He walked away victorious, leaving Piers to stew in the wreckage of his ego, exposed as the man who couldn't handle a real conversation.